Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Civilization 6, where we're playing as Japan, and we're not allowed to place any districts that have less than 3 adjacency. We have attacked the Inca, and we have a nice big old fleet of caravels ready to swing around wide and start making a mess of the city of Machu. Now, they have a relatively large empire, but if I can continue to take apart their cities, I'll be able to bring their science down to a level where they won't be able to really defend themselves. That's kind of the hope, that's kind of the dream, that's kind of the goal here. I've got 8 turns until the next era, and I'm trying to have a little think about what I could do to try to get a golden age. I haven't built a horse, so a horse would do it. I could probably also just send a caravel off in a direction for an explorer. So I think horse is probably part of the plan, but there aren't a lot of horses in the world for me to get. Just kind of unfortunate. So I'm actually going to send my quads to do a quick little explore because they can't really do anything anyway in this circumstance. The city of Ayaviri, is it worth it to attack it this turn? I think I would like to attack it with 4 units next turn. However, he is building walls, so if he was to finish walls over the turn, that would be bad for me. So let's bring the city's health down to make our lives easier. Let's get this guy a promotion. You'll also get a promotion if you take the city. There we go. That's 2 promotions. Now we own this city. We do have a little bit of a loyalty problem. So I can grab Victor and slap him into a Viri. 41 turns on a Pango is fine. Whereas buying 9 turns in here is the right move. Let's get a good surround on this enemy caravel. And if I get a combat victory in range of this Great Admiral, I'm pretty sure I will get a era score. There we go. And now golden age secured. That's perfect. So we didn't need to do any weird shenanigans. We just straight up got ourselves a golden age. If I were to buy a monument in Ayaviri, that would be worth 1 loyalty per turn. Let's have a look. Would that make a difference here? We're falling at 6. So if I were to buy the monument, this would buy me 1 turn. What if I were this? Maybe I could purchase some luxuries. I could buy that. That actually took the city out of unhappiness. And now I'm falling at -3, so if I purchase a monument in here, we're falling at -2, so it should take 25 turns for the city to flip independent. That's plenty of time to get a siege going in Williwam, and that is great news. Let's start obliterating the city of Machu, just to bring its health down, because I will have caravels coming in to support here very soon to help the combat. So any health I can take away from the city will make the caravel conquest easier, because only 1 caravel will be able to hit the city at a time. You can also pop down a harbour in the city of Ayaviri. I think I'm going to put it here because it's a +5, plus it's adjacent to coast, so I could put another district down there as well. I'm still not seeing any reef though, as far as I can tell, if I do a little search for that. Yeah, not a single reef, so I guess this map just might not have generated any reefs. Pop down a new city, and now we are the largest civilization in the world, and we've got 3 more cities than any other civ. Well, we definitely want to pop down a harbour. If we take a look at the city, it definitely needs a builder. I think one thing I really lack is builders right now. So I think what I'm going to do is once I have exploration, I'm going to take out colonization and then put in the builder card. And then I can actually start to develop and improve my empire at a reasonable rate. I will take these 20 horses. No, you know what? I actually don't need horses, so never mind. The Incas are begging me for peace, but while I can still take land, I'm going to keep trying. I'll go ahead and take a promotion with this guy. There we go. You're going to move to here. You're going to come in and get the kill. And that will allow this guy to push into the bay. We swap these guys. You attack the city. You could attack the city as well. So the city's almost down. That's good. Both of these guys have promotions. Now the one question I have is this city does have a garrisoned unit in the form of this caravel. What I could do is buy a scout, and then this would let me move the caravel out of the city while still retaining a garrison. So that's what I'm going to do. It's 120 gold to free up a caravel, essentially. I did have a battering ram here, but I think it got murdered. So I'd like to buy another one. I don't have anything to sell, unfortunately, because I'd like to get a battering ram up to Williwam, but I can buy one in Ayaviri, which will get there pretty quick. So I'm sending these men-at-arms over there, because they should be able to make it there and start doing damage to the city in assistance with the caravels. It looks like it's just an awful lot of ice up here to the north, but still worth exploring, in my opinion. I am going to buy this tile because the city just severely lacks production, and I'll give it a quarry. Although one could argue that I should actually harvest this quarry and replace it with a mine. It is technically better, but I've already improved the quarry, so I'm going to keep the quarry. I could save that shop for later, maybe. Right, let's kill this crossbow because he's been annoying, and I don't like that he's there, just in principle. Let's grab the city of Machu. Machu has fallen. That's actually fantastic. We didn't even need the caravels for that. Is there anything pillageable along the coastline? There is a harbour here that we could get a good chunk of cash out of. Loyalty in here is going to be a significant problem. We'll have to make use of Amani. So I'll pop her into Machu. I really need to flip the city of Wilkawaman pretty quick in order to sustain loyalty in here. At 6 turns. I can change my government on the next turn to give myself a little bit more loyalty from my government. It's mostly population pressure that I'm dealing with. I could buy a monument in here. That would bring it down a little bit. I don't know if it would make a difference though. +4 harbour, of course. Naturally, we are allowed to place that. And then this will eventually... Oh, this is a +3 campus. This is a +4 campus, in fact. I don't think I particularly care about a holy site. So I'd rather just take the +4 campus here to have that locked in. And then that'll act as part of my future plans going forward. Let's start pecking away at the walls of this city. Just want to chip away, because if we can chip away a little bit of the walls, it'll just make our life easier, especially if they try to build, like it looks like they're building medieval walls. So if I can have some damage there, I think it should prevent them from upgrading the walls, which is ideal for me and bad for them. First civic from a new era, which means we now have exploration. We're going to go ahead and switch to Merchant Republic. Some of our choices are kind of forced. We definitely want to be keeping... Oh, I actually don't have Oligarchic Legacy. Well, that's unfortunate. We're going to get rid of the Settler card. I don't think we necessarily need Professional Army right now. I think what we do need is Raid. We definitely want Serfdom because it's time to start making builders. I do think that Merchant Confederation feels like a good choice, as does Charismatic Leader in terms of Diplo cards. I mean, you could also say Colonial Offices. It really just depends on whether or not this counts as a different continent. Unfortunately, it is the same continent as me, so I'm missing out on 3 loyalty there. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Merchant Confederation. Where's Praetorium? Have I not unlocked that? No, I need to go ahead and unlock Praetorium, which is recorded history. Right. I think we have a couple of forced choices here. We need to have Limitani for loyalty. I think Merchant Confederation is a totally reasonable thing, as is Charismatic Leader. This is totally fine. And then my final card slot could be Conscription. It's a lot of money. One of the best value cards I can get. Or I could plug in Raid so I can get a little bit more money out of these couple of pillages that I've planned, like right here. It's 250 gold. Now, the city of Cusco, I'm probably never flipping. But here's the thing, I don't have to flip it. If I can take out all of the ancillary cities, like Antawalia, that'll be a good move. Now, unfortunately, Antawalia does have double walls, so I would need a couple of caravels here. And I do have a couple of caravels moving around. Yeah, I would need like a caravel here, and then 3 samurai with a battering ram. Speaking of battering rams, let's quickly grab another one for the city of William, or whatever it's called. There we go, chip it away. Lovely days, lovely days. Quickly yoink ourselves another pillage and then move this caravel around. How are we doing on promotions and healing here? Let's go ahead and grab a little promotion on you. You're not too far off a promotion yourself. Let's continue to damage the city, and we have our first man-at-arms in range. The battering ram isn't quite there yet because I messed that up. There is a couple of builders here. I'd love if they jumped in the water, I could yoink them. I'm all about that yoink life. This is one of the rare times that Amphibious is actually going to be useful for me on Samurai. One of the very, like this might be the only game I've ever played where Amphibious is a relevant promotion. Because it's being taken on Samurai. Let's use the pillaging for healing. You keep running around the edge of the city. He still can make caravels, so we do have to worry about that. We can steal back a couple of builders. We've got our man-at-arms in range, but I don't think I want to attack with them just yet. I think I would rather make sure that I have my battering ram in position next turn. Let's take up apprenticeship. This will give us access to the industrial zone, but also +1 production on mines, which will be dead handy. I need to get military engineering. No, sorry. I need to get gunpowder for quarry production. A lot of my empire relies on quarries. It's kind of a rare situation that I find myself having more quarries than mines. And the one saving grace I do have here is I'm heading into a golden age, which might make it so that the loyalty will be much more manageable. And in fact it did. Check that out. Golden age, all cities are firing on full cylinders. The Inca are in a dark age. This is ideal. If I can get enough pressure on them, I'll start to break them. And honestly, if I take out the Inca, I'm pretty sure, are they top science in the game? They are. So if I beat the Inca, I think I just auto beat the game, which is kind of interesting because that's the position I'm in, is I'm beating the Inca as we speak. They have basically no military, and I'm ripping down the walls of one of their last few cities. In terms of dedications, monumentality, while normally really good, doesn't really make a huge amount of sense for me. That said, I mean, what am I going to do? Reform the coinage and try to trade internationally? Like, I mean, that's pretty good. I do have a decent number of trade routes, and it is a number that is growing over time. But it's dependent upon the number of districts in the city. So, like, it would get me +6 gold in a trade route with Bandar Brunei. Or would I rather be able to just spend this little bit of faith that I've accumulated on a few quick builders? If you think about it, I could probably get 3 or 4 builders out of that. You know what? I think the gold is better. I think it just scales better. Oh, wait. So these don't count as international trade routes. Interesting. Well, I will trade with Babylon because I want that +1 envoy. That's +1 gold per turn. Interesting. So city-states don't count as international trade routes? I guess it has to be between 2 countries. Lol, a nice galley, bro. Get destroyed. Knowledge of construction has advanced considerably. There's apprenticeship. We also have recorded history now, but we actually don't need Limitanii anymore, so I could keep raid plugged in. But I think I would just plug in conscription and instead maybe grab a little bit of science and culture from international trade. I think that's the best move here. I could also just make my capital stronger. A stronger capital is quite good, actually. +1 to all yields in the capital city. I find that to be agreeable. Annoyingly, I'm not triggering any discounts yet, which is annoying because I don't have enough districts built. But I definitely want to place the aqueduct. I want to cancel it. And then I want to place I can't place that industrial zone until I finish the aqueduct. I almost made a bit of a whoopsie there. So I have no harbour, no commercial hub. I mean, it would be nice to get all of these, but I don't think I particularly care. The foreign ministry is quite good because it allows me to spawn an army near where any of my naval conquest is going. But if I was going for foreign ministry, I would get a diplomatic quarter first. Let's go ahead and pick up the aqueduct. This way I can actually place my industrial zone and start producing real production in here. I need to figure out what city is going to be building my builders. And honestly, I think it's going to be the city of Osaka. Even though it's a relatively late settled city, it's actually doing quite well. It has a fully built harbour. So I think that's the city to do it in. And we're also heading towards mass production. So I'm going to have to save all of my gold for shipyard purchases. And then also in here, I'm going to go ahead and pick up naval tradition. I should probably pick this up earlier in the game, but it's really only around the time that you get shipyards where it becomes actually relevant. I mean, it's nice for the gold, I suppose. Do I want to go for aquaculture on Liang? 40 turn mausoleum, 40 turn mausoleum. Let's go for a mausoleum in Fukuoka at long last. But what I'm also going to do is appoint Magnus in Fukuoka and take all of these choppable tiles. And then I'm going to chop these 3 jungles. I think that's the plan. So I'll need a builder. Right, let's take out the city's walls. The city is looking real rough right now. Bring in another caravel. There we go. Can you get this kill? Amazing. Amazing. So we've managed to capture half of the Incan Empire. And we could actually just end the war here with a significant advantage. We've taken basically the weak part of his empire. And instead we could move on to attack India. India would be a very easy war, so I think I might peace out Pachacuti next turn just for the sake of simplifying my life and then allowing me to sort of snowball off of killing someone who's an easier kill. The nice thing about the biodiversity mod spawning forests in snow is that you can actually get forest fires which will fertilize the snowlands. It's kind of a cool idea. It's one of the things I like about this map mod is that I don't think it like breaks the game to have forests on snow, but I do think it improves it. It makes snow just that little bit more desirable. The real question I have is, does a battering ram work if it's in the water? If you have, like, let's say you have units amphibious assaulting from the water, like this man-at-arms into a city. If I also have a battering ram in the water, does that battering ram apply? Like, that's a serious question. Are they like, do they attach flotation devices to the battering ram and then like float it on up to the walls? Like a Normandy landing type situation where they had like the floating tanks with the little propeller drives or whatever. So there's a little bit of an emergency triggering. I'm hoping that doesn't pass because, I mean, it would just be handier if it didn't. So Pachacuti, let's make peace with him. I want basically everything I can get from him. So I'll take all of his luxuries. He won't give me strategic, sadly. He would give me his great works, but he won't because I don't have room. So I'll just take everything from him. And now we're at peace. So that was, I would call that an extremely successful samurai timing push. Extremely successful. I don't think you could really contest how well that went for me. Now, loyalty will be a little bit of a problem because we do have a lot of grievances with the other player. And there's also a little bit of, the negative grievances and happiness and stuff like that. That's all going to be a problem. But we should be able to sidestep that problem in the long run. Do I think chops are worth it here? Like, it's 36 food, 36 production versus +1 food per turn in cities that will already have really good food. It would bring this down. It takes away the food surplus on the tile. I think it's fine to just leave it the way it is. Maybe if Magnus was chopping it, I would do it, but for a normal chop, not worth it. So I could trade with the Incan now and get a bunch of production, actually. A bunch of production and gold. It's honestly one of my best trade routes to trade with them. So maybe if we trade with them, yeah, they won't hate us quite as much. They hate us because they ain't us. So India is denouncing me, which kind of fits into my plans, weirdly enough. Like, you denounce me. That's just good news for me. So we definitely want to plug in naval infrastructure. The question is, where and when are we plugging it in? But we don't need to plug it in immediately. We want to plug it in when we have shipyard tech. So we could probably take a bit of time. I'll grab theology just for the quick envoy. Not that I need theology. And then I'll go for civil service and we'll kind of reassess from there. We finished the campus in Takamatsu. We have lots of options when it comes to districts. I definitely need to get my libraries up though. I think I just need like a little bit of tech. I'm currently doing well on tech, but I need just a little bit more and then I'll be doing extremely well. If we look at the city of Opango, it's actually quite good. It just needs a granary, I think, to allow it to grow. And then I may as well build a barracks in here as well for even more housing. So this will get it up to 10 population pretty comfortably. Do you know what it actually needs after the granary? Is a builder. Yeah, it needs a builder. In fact, no, it's at its housing limit, so it needs the granary first, and then the builder will retill the land. A lot of my caravels are under repairs, except for this one. That one can make it all the way around to the combat in India. And I think that's going to be partially what I do now is prepare my navy for combat in the Indian territory. So I have to think about which city I'm going to attack first, and probably Patna it's the closest city to Opango, so that's where I'm going to have the most loyalty support. So I'm going to have units prepared to attack Patna, and then hit Agra, Mumbai, and Jabalpur, and then we shall go from there. One thing to consider for me right now is that mines are actually twice as good as they were at the start of the game, because they give me 2 production rather than +1 production. So I need to be getting mines down quick smart in order to really capitalize on that, especially because I'm going to have industrialization soon, which makes mines even 3 times better than they are at the start of the game. But there's theology giving us an envoy. Now, who would I fight for? Who would I fight for Suzumtiyov? It would have been Nan Madol. I kind of wish I could flip the city independent. Can I do something sneaky here? Do you know what? Hang on. Who am I trading with here? Could I give the city of Nan Madol to Kupe as a gift, then allow it to flip independent and liberate it and get a ton of culture? I actually think this is a fantastic idea. Do I want to take the time to finish the harbour in it first? Honestly, I probably don't care. So let's just take away all of its tiles that we can reasonably yoink. We give the city to Kupe. There you go, Nan Madol, there's your gift. He'll even give me money for it. And then it'll rebel in 4 turns. That's actually, I don't know why. This feels like an exploit. This feels like an exploit. What the hell? But you can do this? How long has this been in the game? Why do they let you do this? What the hell? This is so busted. That's wrong. That's wrong. You shouldn't be able to do that. I'm calling shenanigans on that. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that works. I'm in awe at the size of my huge brain after figuring that out. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't believe... Why you denounced me. Why do you think my army isn't coming for you? So we just need to position a small military around the city-state to actually yoink it back for ourselves. He did manage to get a governor into Nan Madol, so it'll take about 7 turns to flip. So honestly, I can probably go deal with India first and then worry about Nan Madol later. We have the aqueduct in Kyoto now, so I can finally place my industrial zone. Look at that +6 bad boy right there. That is a very nice industrial zone. Now, it will take a time to get up to +6, but it will eventually reach +6. Mansa Musa, it's an honor to meet ya. He's all the way over here. So this is going to be a difficult... It looks like some players actually spawned coastal, and then some spawned on a kind of Pangaea type landmass, so it might not be as straightforward to go to war as I thought. I think of all the city-states that I want Suzumtiyov in all the games, it's probably Bandar Brunei, mostly just because this is going to give me a huge amount of gold from all these harbours that I'm building. And I don't want to take a huge gold hit when I eventually decide to go to war with Babylon. So we have access to alliances now. We could ally Hammurabi. Like if we declared a friendship, set up a delegation and say, hey, military alliance, I pay you a little bit of cash. Now we can make a deal and say, joint war? He hasn't met India. That's a little bit unfortunate. Well, I guess we're going to declare our own war then. We'll just do a formal war because we don't have any other justification. Number one step is to clear out enemy units. Let's get up onto the coastline here and then get you guys into position. I want to hold back on these units. I don't want them to be in range of city shots if they're not defended by a boat. We can do huge damage here, but that's not our goal. We want to inherit all of this infrastructure. How long until mass production? Looks like about 8 turns. I could build a lumber mill. Where could I put a lumber mill? Probably just pop one here. That'll boost mass production, get me those a little bit quicker. So now it is time to now plug in naval infrastructure. Here's the question though, where is it going with its fetlocks flowing? I definitely need to keep serfdom. I think urban planning is better. 12 production is better than autocratic legacy. So I'm going to keep that. Switch around the government, then we're happy. So what's the next step for me? I think getting diplomatic service and moving towards chanceries is a reasonable move. It also gives me access to spies, more importantly, which will give me extra combat strength when we decide to go to war. And we are now officially at war. I would love to be building districts in here, but I think Osaka is just my builder sacrifice city. So I'm just going to do a round of builders out of here so I can fully improve my territory. This is just like a really efficient way to get builders while I'm building infrastructure elsewhere. It's not necessarily the most efficient way to get builders. It's just a quite efficient way. You can make an argument that most of my gold should be going into builder purchasing right now. But I am saving for shipyards because shipyards significantly increases the quality of cities that you build a shipyard in, right? That's +5 production, +10 production in this city, for example. It's just a huge advantage if you go with shipyards. Shipyard Japan just feels so good. Their mid-game is insane, and we are swinging into the mid-game now. Oh, we found Samarkand. The Samarkand find is huge. It's another city-state that'll give me gold. Continue to expand my gold economy. Strangely enough, Nanmadal managed to get walls up, which will make my life a little bit more difficult. I could levy the military of Preslav again. We're waiting on this battering ram to get up here. I think the gold price of levying Preslav is a little bit too high for me to consider. I have a bad feeling there's like a galley in the fog of war that's going to come up and kill this battering ram, and I really hope it doesn't happen. There's the lumber mill boost. Mass production boosted. We get shipyards in 3 turns. Really, really good. In fact, actually, shipyards in 3 turns does tell me that I probably want to start selling off luxuries for gold right now. Because if I can pick that gold up, it means shipyards will appear immediately. And then I'll go from being a gold-dependent economy to actually an economy that has production but can use gold. The samurai has taken a lot of beating. He's a little bit too weak right now, so I'm going to step him out and then protect him with a caravel. And then doom cycle my samurai around the city. Battering ram in position. Does it actually work? Apparently a battering ram in the water does actually work. I feel like there should be a rule that says if battering ram in water does not work. However, I'm not going to look a gift ram in the mouth. I'm going to go ahead and take this city and slap down every wall. So that's a 1-turn kill on the city of Patna. These samurai are paying serious dividends. I got extremely lucky that India got a really poor start on this snow island, because now I'm translating it into basically a free holy site and a free campus. This is just pre-built infrastructure. Like, this city is producing not much in terms of yields, but what it is producing, it didn't cost me very much, because remember, every kill I get with this army is I've already spent those resources. So this is just like, you know, having an army is like building a building, right? Except instead of every turn you're getting, you know, +1 food and 2 housing. These are dependent on what I use them for. So if I use them to kill cities, that's the dividend return on the investment into this samurai army. And I think this samurai army has been one of the most efficient investments I've ever made in Civ. Insane gains. If this was a stock portfolio, I would have nothing but green candlesticks. Right, this is a beautiful day. We do have access to the shipyard. There is actually a theoretical, I believe, the Venetian arsenal over here in this city. It could entirely be placed there. So Osaka is going to be the first city that I buy the shipyard in, and that's just because it's producing my builders. So that +6 production will make a huge difference here. Boom. 6 production up to 22 production. Now the city is cranking. I would say about 20 production is about where you want a city to be right now. Here's another plus 10 production shipyard, by the way. Look at that. That's a thing of beauty. The city just jumped all the way up to 22 production. Literally doubled the city's production with a single purchase. This is why it's really, really important to save your gold when you're doing a coastal game around this phase, because I've just massively increased the viability of these cities. Now look at this. I'm working real tiles. Real growth, real production. These cities are no longer jokes, like they're sub 10 turns on constructing certain districts. Now getting a granary makes sense because we have the growth we can actually justify growth now. Oh, that feels good. So before I go for square rigging, I probably need to research military engineering to unlock niter. However, there is a little bit of a problem with researching niter in that this river system will likely need some reworks. I tell you what I will do. I will place a dam here instead of the campus. And then instead I'll put my campus here. I do use up one of those valuable government plaza slots, but I think having a better industrial zone in the long run is probably better. Now, what else are we going to do? I've got one more slot. I've got a couple more slots here that I could make use of. I reckon in Takamatsu, I think we go for maximum gold income. And eventually we can station Reina in the city. And then in Fukuoka, this is honestly just a perfectly reasonable city to go for a single theatre square. Because that's a +3 theatre square right there. Boom. Done. Easy done. All the districts we've placed are +3 or more. So easily done. I should have put my campus here because then this city could have put a +4 campus there. So I'm going to have to wait a bit on what I can do here. Go ahead and get to work on that harbour. I should totally have the harbour production card plugged in. But now, because my gold income is so strong, I only need to finish the harbours and then I can buy the lighthouse and the shipyard in them. So this is where the coastal economy begins to snowball. You start off quite weak, but then you explode in the mid game. And this is honestly just one of my favourite ways to play, where you go for the coastal explosion, as I like to call it. Now that I'm starting to finish some builders, I have to make some calculated decisions about where those builders go. So, where are the most important things? Well, let's see, the city in Nagano definitely needs some tile improvements. In particular, these crabs improved would be good. So I have to kind of like pick a direction for my builders to head in order to officially improve my entire empire. We have managed to circumnavigate the globe. That's another +5 era score, so we could definitely get a normal age this era. Golden age might be a little bit out of reach. Right, let's get into position around the city of Agra. We'll start moving these bad boys over. Samurai on the move. The most important thing we do is we get down those walls. Once the walls are down, it should be simple enough. And this should be a full kill on India, actually. If I can manage it, it should be a total wipeout for them. And then that's them off the map. And that's one of my 8 opponents or whatever. My 7 opponents just taken out off the board. Oh my god, a 1,000-year flood just obliterated this area. That's unfortunate. There will eventually be a dam going here, I think. But it's not too bad. It kind of happened in an area where I'm not too worried about things. Right. Now it's time for... We have niter, so it's time for industrialization. This will give us access to coal and then potentially ironclads, depending on if we hit that coal. But more importantly, it gives us factories. And we are playing as Japan, so we get the electronics factory, which is a special kind of factory, which produces more production. Wait a minute, does the electronics factory not provide culture AoE? Wait, was that a mistake I made? Oh yeah, it actually doesn't. It provides +4 culture to this city after researching the electricity technology. I feel like this was changed. No, it looks like just like it always gave you +4 culture with electricity, which we are going to be doing an electricity rush for seaports. This is going to allow me to build fleets and armadas. It'll give me a ton of extra gold. And so this is kind of like seaports into flight is kind of like the play I usually like to make, because that gives you the gold to actually purchase aircraft. You could, it's a kind of a top half tech 3 play. It's pretty standard stuff. Let's go ahead and appoint Reina, and we wanted to put her in the city of Takamatsu. You go there, you go there. Now you could make the argument that maybe I should have gone for Warlord's Throne, because I will be conquering cities. But I think the choice I made of going for Audience Chamber was reasonable. Probably wasn't a perfect choice, but it was good enough, I think. And sometimes that's all you need to do, is to make choices that are good enough. It served its purpose, Oh, a lovely piece of niter right here. In fact, 2 pieces of niter. Let me grab both of those. This is going to significantly increase the quality of the city of Nagano. Once I have mines on both of these niter tiles, the city will be churning away. But I think this is honestly a really good place to leave this episode. It was a relatively short episode in terms of like timeline, but a relatively high quality episode in terms of how far we came. We're now nearly top science in the world. We took a significant bite out of the Incan Empire, which should set them back for the rest of the game. And we're setting up our economy for success. I should probably hit about 1,000 gold per turn this game. I would be surprised if I didn't. So that's kind of like where we're expecting to land there on a lot of those metrics. I love you all very much. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.